Picture this. You stand at the edge of a vast, untamed land, rugged mountains, endless seas, and islands scattered like jewels across the horizon. This is ancient Greece, where the very geography didn't just shape the landscape, it shaped the destiny of an entire civilization. What if the land you lived on didn't just define your daily life, but determined the future of your people? Could geography create challenges that would forge greatness? What if the place you call home could either make or break you? What if it could push you to reach your full potential or force you to fight for your survival? How would you rise to the challenges that geography gives you? This is the story of ancient Greece, where the land didn't just shape the people, it forced them to ask tough questions. Let's start our journey in Athens, a city built by the sea, where geography wasn't just a backdrop, it was everything. Athens is a city on the edge of the Mediterranean. Its geography, marked by its proximity to the sea, gave it access to the world. The sea was their lifeblood, their highway to trade, ideas, and influence. But here's the question. Could Athens, with its geography, create more than just wealth? Could they turn the seas into a platform for innovation and power? The answer came in the form of the polis, city-states that thrived on the exchange of ideas. Athens, with its access to the Mediterranean, became the cultural and intellectual capital of the ancient world. The sea didn't just bring goods, it brought philosophers, artists, and thinkers who would change the course of human history. Philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle shaped the way we think about truth, knowledge, and morality. The question now is, what will you do with your access to the world? Will you let the seas only bring material wealth, or will you use them to enrich your mind and soul? But with all that power came danger. The very sea that brought wealth also brought enemies. Athens had to protect what it built. Its navy became the city's shield. The challenge: how do you protect what you value most when the waves are teeming with threats? Not all Greek city-states had the luxury of the sea. Far from the glittering waves, we find Sparta, a place where geography was less about wealth and more about survival. The mountains of Sparta isolated it from the Mediterranean's trade routes, but this same isolation forged a different kind of strength. In Sparta, the challenge wasn't how to thrive, it was how to survive. The land didn't provide bountiful trade routes or rich natural resources. Instead, the geography of the land shaped the Spartans into one thing: warriors. Their strength came from the land itself. The steep mountains and isolated valleys turned Spartans into one of the fiercest armies the world had ever known. Sparta's geography forced them to adapt in ways other Greeks didn't have to. Could they rise to greatness, not through trade or philosophy, but through sheer power and resilience? They built a military machine, training from childhood to be warriors, relying on the land for defense and strength. Their most famous challenge came at the Battle of Thermopylae, where against impossible odds, a small force of Spartans stood against the might of the Persian Empire. They held their ground not just because of their military skill, but because their geography taught them the importance of defending what's theirs, even when everything seems stacked against them. So here's the Spartan question. What do you do when you're faced with overwhelming adversity? Will you shrink from the challenge, or will you rise up and fight with everything you've got? Now, let's sail south to Crete, where geography presents an entirely different kind of challenge. A paradise of fertile land, mild climate, and abundant resources. The Minoans who inhabited this island had what seemed like a perfect world. But paradise isn't without its risks. The Minoans, with their rich resources and advanced civilization, were positioned perfectly for trade. But that wealth made them vulnerable. Could they protect their riches, or would their success lead to their downfall? With stunning palaces, intricate artwork, and impressive technology, the Minoans flourished. Yet, as history shows, paradise can be fleeting. The Minoans were struck by disaster, whether natural catastrophe or foreign invasion. The very land that gave them wealth also left them exposed. The Minoans were a powerful civilization, but their wealth and geographic location made them vulnerable to invaders. Their story begs the question: how do you protect what you've built when everything around you seems to be conspiring against you? Geography shapes the land, but it also shapes the people who live upon it. The Greeks understood this better than anyone. Athens turned the sea into a source of wealth and knowledge. Sparta turned mountains into fortresses of strength. Crete turned paradise into a vulnerable target. So, what will you do with the land you have? Will you let geography dictate your limits, or will you rise to the challenge it offers? The Greeks didn't wait for the world to shape them. They shaped the world. The question is, how will you shape yours?